Hello and welcome everybody to Level Up Radio on Civil Radio 101.7 FM. I am your player one, Graham St. Aloy, your host of the day. We are doing a pre-recorded interview with a player 2, a player 3, and a player 4. So today with us I have Holden, one of a previous guests. Say hi, Holden. And then I have our actual guests, Jake and Brandon for Zebulon Galactic Control. What was the name of your company again?
Pocto Games.
Okay, so Pocto Games. So hi guys, how's it going?
Hey, okay. How are you doing?
Pretty good, yeah.
That's good to hear. So I'm actually doing okay, as you asked. So, so tell us about yourselves, guys.
Well, I lived in China for 6 years, and I've a little bit of a manufacturing background there. When I was over in China, I was working for a company that made the windscreens inside when I was with high-speed trains over there.
Okay.
We were. It was fun. I managed to acquire the language and have a good amount of experience going around to the factories there. But I've always been an avid gamer, and while I was over in China, my friends and I, a couple of other people from around the world, we set up a gaming convention over in Beijing called ConCon, and I guess my entire life I've been an avid gamer. I mean, I play Dungeons and Dragons and any kind of role-playing game that's out there, tabletop games, war games. Mm-hmm. It's all in my bag.
Yeah, and I actually went to UFE. I took the library tech program, and I also got my adult education degree from here. And I have a background in art. I went to Capilano and did the studio art program there. And so I'm just an avid gamer. I used to play Ars Magica and any type of board game I like to play. My favorite right now is Patchwork, because I can play it after the kids go to bed.
Patchwork. Ooh, I never actually heard of that one before.
I always love doing the sale pitch on it. I like to make it sound as terrible as I can, so when people play it, they love it. You're building a quilt.
Okay.
And you get buttons. And the more buttons you get, the more you'll win the game.
Sounds boring.
Yes.
You know what? I think I'm going to try it now.
It's actually an amazing game. You have to be aware of spatial because it's kind of Tetris-style pieces. Mm-hmm. You can do more than one move in a turn. It's an interesting game. You should check it out.
The rules are fairly basic and straightforward, but I would say that it's one of my favorite games too.
Yeah.
I mean, when he first sold it to me, he used the same sales pitch, and I was like, "That sounds like a horrible game. Let's play it."
Yeah, like I think I have actually seen the board game sitting around at Nerdhaven or other places around, and it's I have been interested in trying it because it does look interesting for the most part, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So. Tell us about the game.
Well, Zebulon Galactic Control, it's a 2 to 4 player game. It's about 45 minutes to 90 minutes, depending on how interactive the game is. It's a space-themed game where you're racing around the galaxy, and along the way you get to battle people, lay traps, and you get reward cards that you get to use to attack your enemies with. There's a bit of a bluff component with the bidding process. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of player interaction within the game.
And we've been playing it for a year now, and we still enjoy playing it from time to time.
And I take it you have a good range of playtesters as well to work with?
Yes, for sure. And we've done some blind play testing as well, and we're hoping to get a few review backs soon as well online.
No, you might get one from us eventually, right?
That'd be nice.
Whenever you have a time, we can bring a game over and we can all give it a shot.
Oh, please! I work with the Tabletop Board Games Club here at the university. I can get you guys in touch. It's a good opportunity to get in touch with the university students here for games.
For sure.
So I was wondering, because when I play board games, I go, I find something really cool about board games that's brand new. Is there something that your board game brings new to the table as far as board games are concerned?
Well, I would say it's the combination of the things that we have available. I mean, the board looks... I think the board looks awesome, and I love the fact that every time we play, you're not getting that ingrained memory of locations of different things on the board because it's a modular design, and so every time you play, it's something new. The bidding system is something that I haven't seen done in games too often when you're bidding on the missions and you're doing it in a secret way. And the reward system I think is a lot of fun. The player interaction and the traps. I mean, like the traps are really something that you don't see too often. I mean, like at first you would think that the traps are kind of a static thing. You place a trap on the board and it doesn't really move around. But with combat, every time you win a combat in the game, you have the opportunity to move people, and so essentially you lay a trap in a high traffic area that forces people to go around it or go into a different location. But if they're anywhere near it and you battle them and you win, you can push them onto the trap, and then fun things happen after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And so one of the key things I always love to ask about games that developers make and such is, what inspired you guys to make this game?
I've always loved space. I used to play Stargate Resistance, and I watched Stargate. Jake was actually an extra on Stargate as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's filmed in Vancouver, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's a great job to do when you're a student because you sit around all day and you can study.
Do you know what episode? Because now I'm going to go rewatch them.
I don't remember the name of the episode, but it's an episode where the Ori Queen is standing on a balcony addressing all of her...
Oh, yes. I think I remember that one, too.
Yeah, I was somebody standing in the background, and I was able to see myself, but I'm on screen for maybe like half a second or something like that.
Hey, it's half a second of fame, right?
Yeah, there you go.
We're not gonna watch the episode. We're just gonna be like focusing in, trying to find you.
Spot Jake. Where's Waldo? No, so Jake actually said, I have this manufacturing background. Let's make something.
Mm-hmm.
And the logical conclusion, because at the time we were playing tons and tons of board games together, was a board game. It's definitely an easier market to get into than the other things. So we put our heads together, and we all both brainstormed a bunch of ideas, and as you should, you need a bunch of ideas, and we went with this one and just developed it.
I mean, one thing that really drew me to this idea, as opposed to any of the other ones that we kind of came up with, was there was a picture floating on the internet at the time of all the different space missions that were going out there and the paths that they were taking through the galaxy, looping around planets to hop around from place to place.
In your game, or?
No, in on the internet. The actual NASA missions that are out there.
So okay.
It was good inspiration.
Yeah,
sure.
and so the boards that we have is kind of like that mission map that was out there.
Okay.
So what would you say is like the first process that you took when it came to developing this board game?
You definitely want to think about the different mechanics that you want in the game. And there's lots of places online where you can look at the different types of things that there are. We wanted it to be modular. We wanted it to be balanced. And then we wanted the movement not to be a basic roll. So when you're on your turn, you can actually buy movement. And then the more you spend, the farther you can go usually. And then we kind of really wanted that, and then we just layered on all the other things. So we focused on the mechanics and not necessarily making it pretty first.
Yeah, I mean the first prototype of the game was just a bunch of hand-drawn pictures on pieces of scrap cardboard with pennies as the tokens.
How it mostly starts, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, okay, so with this game, now money is always an issue, right? And you guys started a Kickstarter for the game. Looks like it's about 60% done, right?
Yeah, with 2 weeks left.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like this is starting to work up to a success then, or?
Yeah, I think Zebulon Galactic Control is starting to build up some steam on Kickstarter. We're definitely up against some big names, but we're building up some steam. I've emailed every board game company in every board game store in BC, Alberta, and now I'm working on Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and we've had some interest with that. And how many playtests do we have in the next 4 or 5 days?
Oh, well, we have 4 coming up, right? I mean, one at Players Wanted in Vancouver, one at House of Cards locally here in Abbotsford on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then another one in Vancouver on Friday, right?
Yeah, so Drexel Games on Friday, Players Wanted on Thursday, and then, House of Cards this Saturday at 6, and then Sunday we're at another store in Port Moody as well. Yeah.
So
Hourglass, sorry.
Hourglass. Yeah. I have actually been seeing your pamphlets around the gaming stores in Abbotsford. So it's kind of nice to see that you're getting that outreach as well. And have you outreached beyond BC at all?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of Facebook targeted ads outside of BC. We're a part of a bunch of different gaming communities and forums that we're just trying to spread the word through as well.
Yeah, I noticed there was some content on your Kickstarter page about Board Game Geek and forum posts and stuff like that, and so I saw that there. Yeah,
and we have ads on Board Game Geek as well.
That's pretty cool.
And other sites. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then after we're done this, we're going to do a Chinese version of it. It's going to be a Chinese Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And we're going to use my my organization that I'm a member of
Yeah.
over there to try and push it.
That'll be really interesting, especially getting the international aspect to spread the game further out there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, in relation to your Kickstarter as well, I noticed you do have a good amount of pledge packs, but some of them are sold out.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were quickly sold out. We had it where people can name a planet, then make it so level. I was hoping Patrick Stewart could get in on that, but he didn't.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know. Yeah, and then the naming of cards. We're considering possibly releasing a few more of those. It just depends on.
That
if
was
we
the
can make
follow-up
it work.
question. Do you guys plan on adding more,
Yeah, well, we have like the $5, you get a digital poster, the $10, you
Yeah.
get a space patch, because every space mission has a space embroidered patch. What other levels do we have, Jake?
Well, we have the pizza party, but that's already been sold out too.
Have you
Yeah.
already had those pizza parties, or not until after?
Not until
until
after,
after.
yeah.
That'll be interesting.
And then the $40 gets you the game
Yep.
as well. And then there is the retail packages that we're marketing as well.
Okay.
And if you want to buy 4, you could get 4 copies
But
as well.
we are also considering opening up more planets for naming and more traps to be or not more cards that could be named.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, I know for certain I'm going to be posting the Kickstarter page on my Facebook group for the show, and if any of you are listening to this, by all means, check it out. You should pledge to this because this game looks pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to actually ask you guys a game theory question because I'm really into game theory. What would you say makes a game good, like a good board game?
what makes a good board game? Well, I mean, there's all kinds of aspects to do it. I mean, like if on a personal level or from a mechanics point of view.
Give me both.
Well, I mean, on a personal level, if I'm enjoying myself, then it's a fun board game and it's a good board game. I mean, it could be a completely broken board game, but if I have fun playing it, and mechanically maybe it's got some flaws, it's still a good game.
I mean, you could lose every time and it could still be fun.
No,
right?
exactly. As long as you're having those aha moments, I find that, it can still be a fantastic game. But as far as what personally I think on a mechanical level makes a game good is the ability to play it again and again and still find something interesting and new on the next playthrough. So modularity and the ability to replay it.
Yeah, and as for me, I like the. I always like a lot of player interactions. I don't like playing games where you're just on a silo and you're playing it by yourself. And our game definitely has a lot. Zebulon Galactic Control definitely has a lot of that as well.
Cool.
and do you actually have any plans to allow for like single player aspects to the game too?
Yeah, we're working on the rules for that as well as team based interaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we haven't really released that with this version because it still needs some work. So if when this is successful, we're gonna probably in a couple 6 months we should be able to do a release with the expansion or whatever, or make it available
Yeah.
to the people that pledged on our current Kickstarter.
So,
And-
go ahead.
Sorry, and adding on a 5th player or a 6th player as well is something
Mhm.
that we really want to do. And as Jake said, the 2v2 mechanic and possibly an exploration expansion as well.
That can be pretty cool. So that was actually one of our other questions I wanted to ask was, are there plans for expansions already? Like, do you already have plans for that? So I'm guessing like a 5 and 6 player expansion, then like exploration, stuff like that.
Yeah, we wanted to get the core game out there first,
Mhm.
and with Kickstarter, you want to have a manageable goal in
Mhm.
place. And to do the 5th and 6th player expansion just would have made the cost a little too high this first time.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to get the core game out there and
And
then
just-
expand on it.
Just get it rolling right away.
You were talking about like doing a single player thing. Would you be applying a storyline to it or just kind of a base mechanic?
Yeah, I mean it would be story based. I mean within the game that we have now, there is backstory. I mean, like if you look at the board, there's a planet that's like broken into many pieces on there. It's which is the idea that that's the original home world of everybody that's in this little galaxy here, and then at some point in time that planet was torn to pieces for various reasons we're not going to get into on this show, but and so it's just led to this political situation now in the galaxy where you have everybody kind of on this Dyson sphere that surrounds the sun, and everybody's kind of cooperating at this point in time to rebuild the galaxy. But in the single player version, you would be living through that experience of what happened to bring us to this point.
Yeah, and with the 4 different factions we have that are coordinating and rebuilding, they each have their own homeworld. And within the game, when you're playing right now with the core game, you can play as the 4 different factions, and then they have unique abilities when you're playing.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it actually really brings out the initial artwork that you see, the one on the front of the Dyson Sphere. I really like the look of that one because, if there was ever a Dyson Sphere, that would be one way of promoting one or having one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you showed us the game a little bit earlier before we started, and I noticed one thing is there's a lot of pieces to it, right? And do you plan on you just plan on using plastic bags, I guess, for individual pieces then, or do you think you might have a vacuum pack or whatever in there?
Yeah, we're still finalizing the details on that, but vacuum packing is certainly something that we've been taking a look at.
Those are usually neat little racks that you can set up for those. Yeah.
Yeah, we really want that. It's just how achievable on the first print run it's going to be is something that we'll have to work with the manufacturers.
Yeah, and generally I think I would guess that plastic bags are usually just the cheapest option that you could go with. And then I actually have a friend who uses those little. You can go to Walmart and get these little store it boxes. They're little tiny boxes that you can just put your pieces in. They're really useful, and just gets 20 for a game and of varying sizes based off of the size of the cards or pieces. So
yeah, and a lot of the board game stores we go to or the board game cafes, they sometimes store their games vertically, so they actually prefer the bags over the vacuum pack because then everything falls out.
Okay. So, what are you guys' plans to moving forward with this game? Once you're done your Kickstarter, I mean, you're gonna release it, obviously, right? Or you'll have a better direction towards releasing it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's working towards there. I mean, we're reaching out to everybody that we can to get the game. But once this is successful, we're going to just follow up with more expansions and just build upon the concept that we started here.
Yeah, I'd love to get it out to any of the big reviewers like the Dice Tower, or have Will Wheaton play it, or just sending it out to big wigs like that, right?
And that would be something. Yeah, that would be something worth checking out, and I most certainly could see Will Wheaton playing it at some point. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the interview, and I have to say thank you very much for being here today, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for letting us come on and talk about Zebulon Galactic Control out on Kickstarter right now.
I was just going to say, you guys want to plug yourself again?
Might as well.
Last chance.
It ends on April, we're saying 4th, but it's actually 5th in the afternoon, so if you want to come out.
So, yeah, everybody, check it out. I'm going to post the link of the Kickstarter on the Level Up Radio Facebook page, and you can all check it out. Hopefully you can pledge some money towards it. Make sure that they meet their goals. I most certainly will myself. So, thank you, everybody. And once again, you're listening to Level Up Radio on Civil 101.7 FM, broadcasting from Abbotsford, Fraser Valley, University of the Fraser Valley, actually. Well, Abbotsford campus, right? Yeah. And and yeah, you can catch us on civl.ca.
Awesome.
Thanks. All right, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.